Run.
Hello and welcome to Ycft. We have just gotten out of watching The Exorcism. We saw it as part of Odeon's Scream Unseen, so we solved the clues. We had a feeling this was what it was going to be. Not because Cineworld kind of announced that that's what they're showing the same night. Mm-hmm. And this film stars Russell Crowe. It was directed by Joshua John Miller and is about a down-on-his-luck actor who gets the chance to go audition to play a priest in an exorcism movie after his predecessor dies unexpectedly before filming can begin. And after he arrives on set, things start to happen. Very much going along the cursed film set approach of the exorcism and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And the Omen, you know, we've seen this play before.
Yeah.
I'm going to be brutally honest. I didn't have the best time with this movie. What was your opinion on it, Sam?
I think we need to preface this first by saying that owing to a very misleading article that we had read not long before we went to see this movie, we believed that The Exorcism was a follow-up to The Pope's Exorcist.
I didn't want to watch the trailer for spoilers, but the article I saw was trailer for Russell Crowe's follow-up to The Pope's Exorcist dropped. And right. I knew there is a sequel to that film in the works. I assumed it was the sequel.
So you can see where the confusion came from here. And I can confirm this is not a sequel to The Pope's Exorcist. It is very much its own movie. It is entirely separate. It just so happens that Russell Crowe has starred as a priest in 2 separate films within a very short span of time.
A priest in one and an actor playing a priest in another. So what did you think of the movie?
Okay, I want to start off by saying probably the first quarter of this movie I genuinely enjoyed. I liked the premise of where it was going. I liked the whole cursed films or, cursed set element. I liked the whole movie within a movie. There were some really cool sequences near the beginning where we're, physically exploring the set and we're seeing the props department and we're seeing the special effects department and they've rigged up, the masks that emulate certain actors' faces. And we get to see the set design and the production design. I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed that. I don't think we see that enough. Certainly not in horror movies anyway. But what I was expecting was a film to, be about this cursed film that has some kind of demonic presence haunting the studio, haunting the set. That's what the movie sets up in the first 20-25 minutes. Unfortunately, the film that we get following that is very different. And for me, the second half, actually probably even more than the second half, most of this movie is incredibly disjointed. And ultimately, the whole demonic plot and what follows as a result of that, it literally doesn't make sense. There are so many unanswered questions I still have about this. I feel like we're kind of just forgotten in the script. I'm still a bit confused by where this film went. And it did just descend into a lot of tropiness, a lot of stuff that we've seen before. But what makes it worse for me is it's not tied together in any succinct way. It's predictable, but ultimately really unsatisfying. And that sounds really harsh, but yeah, this was a bit of a mess.
We never like to shit on movies too much, but ultimately the film is quite slow, and not even just a slow burn. It's not scary, it's predictable. And if you're doing an exorcism movie, you've got to at least have a good exorcism scene, and this doesn't. It results to choppy editing and flashing strobes, headache-inducing strobes. I had to keep looking away.
I had to look away.
In fact, I was dozing off not long before the exorcism scene started, and that kind of woke me up. There was a guy asleep next to me. I've never seen so many people leave the theatres.
Oh, I know.
It's not the worst film I've ever seen, but it is disjointed. And pet peeve, we mentioned it in our Tarot review. Unrealistic home lighting.
Yes.
No one walks around in their home this dark.
No, it's so noticeable. It's I understand, obviously, you're going for the whole moody lighting. It's a horror film aesthetic. I get it. You want to make a film look spooky. There is absolutely no reason characters are having dinner with all of the lights off. Can't justify it.
Reading a script in the middle of the night with the tiniest light.
Exactly.
Eye strain, Russell. Eye strain.
Dumb.
We found out after the fact.
Yes.
That the Pope's Exorcist is actually involved in this movie in a particular way. And that was that this film wanted to ride its coattails
Yeah.
a little bit, because this movie was initially filmed in 2019.
Yeah.
Miramax were not very happy with the final cut, so scheduled reshoots in 2020. We all know what happened in 2020 to the film industry and the world. Mm-hmm. Filming didn't start again until 2023.
Yeah.
Literally, they decided to get all the actors back because of the success of The Pope's Exorcist.
Yeah.
And the movie was meant to be called something completely different, like the Georgetown...
The Georgetown Project, which, minor spoiler, is the name of the movie that they are filming in this movie.
I mean, I don't even think it's spoilers. It's literally got... The film actually has nothing to do with the plot. You have this incredible free-story house set, basically not used.
Yeah.
I think you can tell, like, Russell Crowe's weight kind of fluctuates in between scenes.
Massively, yeah.
So he must have put, like, either put on or lost weight in the 4 years. David Hyde Pierce looks noticeably older in certain scenes. And you said that it was extensive reshoots, like new characters added in, new scenes. So there are elements of the original plot still in there, I'm assuming, that just don't go anywhere and don't make sense.
It doesn't make a cohesive movie. I mean, I read a quote that the director, Miller, he didn't even think the movie was going to see light of day. You know, he was so... I don't know, I guess they were all just completely disenfranchised by the whole thing, ultimately. And I feel for the guy, because, you know, again, no one sets out to make a bad movie. This one just really feels like it was... I don't know, the victim of really bad timing and, I don't know, bad ideas thrown together. One of the comments I made to you right after we left the screening was, that to me either feels like it's been directed by someone who is unfamiliar with horror, or it's been directed by multiple people. Because it doesn't feel like it's one cohesive vision. It's not one person's vision throughout the whole movie. And it's not... Miller was the director all the way through, but now understanding the context, I understand. It's a lot of different ideas meshed together that ultimately don't really make a compelling or even satisfying story. And it's such a shame.
I like Russell Crowe. I was really excited when I thought it was a sequel to The Pope's Exorcist.
Yes, so was I. I was very confused.
I was looking forward to that terrible Italian accent. I was genuinely really excited. But they can't all be winners.
They can't all be winners.
We still enjoyed ourselves.
This is not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not the worst movie I've seen in the cinema. I've yet to ever walk out of a movie, and I knew this was not going to be the day where that happened. I was invested enough to see it through to the end.
I do personally think Tarot was a bit better than this. At least it was more satisfying.
I think that's what Tarot has going for it. Tarot was still also very predictable, but it did tie things together.
It was cohesive.
In a satisfying way. It was cohesive. This is just a bit of a mess, unfortunately. As I say, I think it starts off with a pretty solid premise, but where the film goes is... just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just very... where we end is very different to where we begin.
Make of that what you will. Go see it if you want to see it. If not, it'll probably be in streaming in 2 weeks anyway.
I don't think this film is destined to do very well at all, unfortunately. But hey, you know, we've got a sequel to Pope's Exorcist at some point.
Yeah, we've got one coming eventually.
Yeah.
So, thanks a lot, guys. And we'll see you for our regularly scheduled programming later in the week.